Yo, welcome back to the Zira Culture podcast. You're listening to Season 3, and today is the final episode of the season, Episode 8. And I want to take a second to really sit with that, because this season has been a whole journey through the different layers of culture. We've looked at internet culture, hustle culture, youth culture, money culture, creative culture. All these forces that don't always announce themselves, but still shape how people think, how people act, what people want, and what people believe is normal. But for this last episode, we're not just analyzing the culture we're living in. We're turning our heads forward. Because culture never freezes in place. It's always moving, always mutating, always responding to the world around it. So the question today is simple and also enormous. What might culture look like in the future? Let's start with the most obvious driver, technology. Because whether we like it or not, technology doesn't just give us new tools. It changes the way humans live, connect, and even imagine what's possible. If you zoom out across history, you see the pattern. When humans developed writing, knowledge stopped being trapped inside memory. It could travel across time. Messages could outlive the messenger. Then the printing press showed up, and suddenly ideas weren't moving at walking speed anymore. They could spread widely, quickly, and to people who had never met each other. Then radio and television did something else entirely. They created shared moments. Millions of people hearing the same story at the same time in different homes. That's not just media. That's culture being synchronized. Now we're stepping into another huge shift. Artificial intelligence is here. Virtual and augmented worlds are getting more realistic. And global digital communities are becoming as influential as physical neighborhoods, sometimes even more. And one of the biggest changes this brings is that the line between physical reality and digital experience keeps getting thinner. For a lot of people, real life already includes parts of the internet. Your friendships, your work, your identity, your creativity, your business, your news. It's all woven together. So when we talk about future culture, it might not make sense to frame it as online versus offline. The future could feel like both at once. A blended reality where your physical life and your digital life aren't separate worlds. They're one connected environment. Now, the second big shift is global culture, and it's already happening in real time. In the past, cultures could be more isolated. Regions developed their own traditions, languages, styles, music, customs, because distance created separation, and separation created uniqueness. But the internet collapses distance. A song can drop in one country and become the soundtrack of another country overnight. A dance trend can start in one city and spread across continents before the week is over. A slang word can jump borders faster than people can explain where it even came from. So cultures are blending, remixing, and reacting to each other faster than ever. And that can be exciting. It's like there's a huge, shared conversation happening every day, with billions of voices contributing. At the same time, it also raises an interesting question. How do people keep local identity while participating in a global culture? And maybe the answer is that the future holds both. A world where there's more shared influence, but also more intentional effort to preserve what's unique: language, tradition, heritage, and local meaning. So you might see a future where the global conversation becomes louder, but the pride in local identity becomes sharper too. People don't want to just blend into one big generic culture. They want to belong and stand out at the same time. Now let's talk about something deeper, because technology and globalization can shape the surface, but culture is still directed by human values. Tools change, platforms change, trends come and go. But underneath all that, culture is basically the record of what humans choose to prioritize. What people believe is important, what people reward, what people reject, what people protect, what people celebrate. And that means the future of culture isn't only about what technology can do. It's also about what people decide should be done. So here's a real question to sit with. What values are going to lead the next era? Will people lean toward creativity and expression? Will knowledge and education become the highest currency? Will sustainability move from being a buzzword to being a lifestyle that shapes everything? Will community become more important again after so many years of hyper-individualism? The next generations are going to answer those questions, not just with opinions, but with choices: what they build, what they support, what they boycott, what they normalize. And that leads to the philosophical part, because even with all the changes coming, humans are still humans. People still want connection. People still want meaning. People still want purpose. People still want stories that make life feel bigger than just survival. People still want love, belonging, and a sense that they matter to someone, somewhere. So yes, culture will keep changing its outer form. The packaging will evolve. The platforms will evolve. The aesthetics will evolve. But those deeper human needs, those are likely to stay familiar. In other words, the tools can change completely, but the heart of the human experience still recognizes the same themes. We'll just keep finding new ways to express them. And here's the closing thought I want to leave you with before we wrap this season up. Every generation tends to feel like they're living in normal times. Like what's happening right now is just life. But when history looks back, it often discovers that certain eras were turning points. And if we're being honest, we are living through one of the fastest cultural transformations human beings have ever experienced. Ideas move instantly. Technology evolves constantly. And young voices all over the world are influencing what's next, what's cool, what's acceptable, what's meaningful, what's possible. And the future? The future isn't already written. It's not sitting somewhere waiting to be discovered. It's being created in real time, every day, by decisions, inventions, art, movements, conversations, and communities. And with that, we've reached the end of Season 3. If you've been listening throughout, thank you. For real. Thank you for being part of this season, part of this exploration, and part of the conversation. Because culture isn't just something that happens to us. Culture is a story humanity writes together. And every time we talk about it, question it, or challenge it, we add another page. This has been the Zira Culture Podcast. Stay curious, stay creative, and stay connected to the culture. I'll see you in the next season. And here's one strange thought to let drift off like stardust. Humans are the only species we know of that can imagine futures that don't exist yet. In cognitive science, that ability has a name: prospection. It's the brain's way of simulating tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. And if you think about it, civilization itself is basically a massive shared thought experiment about the future. Season 3 was about culture today. And maybe next season, we start trying to predict where this story goes next.